We talk.
Okay.
Welcome
to
the celebrated nightly news of Calaveras County. Thanks for stopping by. We really appreciate it.
And this is John.
I'm John.
And I'm Sarah.
And there was a lot of stuff going on today.
There was a lot going on today, besides the Board of Supervisors.
Now,
actually.
To start with, I'm going to throw myself on the mercy of our audience.
Holy moly. Should I get out of the way?
No. But I guess, you should feel sorry for me because I sat in the Calaveras County Board of Supervisors meeting for over 5 hours today. 5 hours.
It was a monumental meeting. And if you remember last night when we were talking about the board agenda, the way it was agendized, they should have gotten out of there at 10:30.
Well, there was nothing on the agenda, except that this one item took 3.5 hours.
Exactly,
yeah.
But, usually you would plan for that, right?
Well, I think they kind of did, because there was nothing else on the agenda. If you're looking at the agenda and you only see a couple items, that can either be a good thing or a really bad thing. And today it was.
Yeah, it was a bad thing today. Well, not necessarily, if you like that sort of thing. But short agendas can even, they can mean a 30-minute meeting and you're out.
They can. Yeah.
Or they can mean a 7-hour meeting.
And also, as a little promo for next week, today was the first day that we did live streaming of the Calaveras County Board of Supervisors meeting.
All
and
5 hours
it is
of it.
audio. Audio only, because that's all we have the bandwidth to push from location there.
Yes.
So at some point in the future, we'll start pushing live video. But for now, it was live audio.
Audio today. And then we'll have the actual Board of Supervisors
probably
video
tomorrow night because it was a 5-hour meeting till the time you convert it and do the other stuff. It will be
and then in the future, video and audio live stream.
Yes, in the future.
Yes, in the future.
But on the video, it'll be a while till we do live stream video, just because of bandwidth issues at the county and that type of stuff.
So if you want to listen to it on your computer, if there's sort of a hot button issue like there was today,
yes,
you can just hear it right there. You can hear all the commentary before they get to that issue, because sometimes the supervisors talk about things before it comes up. Sometimes on the consent agenda there are issues that play into the sort of hot button issue, and if you just happen to be at work and can listen to it on your computer, there you have it. And
if you have a Windows mobile phone, the Windows mobile phone, that is a streamable Windows media player file. So if you have a data package on your phone, you can be cruising through, just listening to the Fab Five on your phone.
That's right. I like that. The Fab
Five. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. What are the
Five?
Yeah. You can.
So
it was the Fab Four today.
Fab Four today.
Marita was absent. I guess she was attending a.
Something exciting.
I guess she's on a committee for jail overcrowding or something like that.
Yes, she is.
So that's what she was on. And I guess instead of just talking about it, we probably tell them what actually went on during the meeting.
That's right.
And during the meeting today, the bulk of it was taken up on legal access issues. And there was a certain parcel on Arolla Road, the old Arolla Road, in August of last year, where the person that was right on the road that the other people had to drive through that property, wanted to get a clarification from the county on what exactly access rights and things like that subsequent parcels had. And that was the impetus for this. So now the county went back and looked at it and decided they need to come up with a good legal access definition. Now, initially, they had said that they wanted basically a deeded legal access to the parcel. But on some of these things,
some of them are so old, there's no way you can get it.
Yeah, and this is something to where, and at the end of in this one on, there was most of the big real estate firms had representatives and sometimes multiple representatives there. Title companies had representatives, and this was this has the ability, the potential to impact property values significantly. So, for example, if they followed the strict deeded legal access guidelines that they currently were looking at, then some parcels would be deemed valueless because they would be landlocked, you would no longer be able to build on them. And so basically they were looking at, in essence, those properties would be condemned.
Yeah.
And there was, and I think that nobody, that won't happen. Fiscally for the county and everything else, that's something that just won't happen.
Well, they need to take care of this quickly, right?
But also I think that in all this back and forth, everybody knows that won't happen. It's everybody, because it just can't happen. Because you can't go back, and because otherwise I can imagine if several hundred parcel owners come back to the county and say, well, I'd like a tax refund for the last 10 years.
Well, that's right. It would change the value of the properties.
Right.
But also, some properties and parcels, their titles and deeds are so convoluted that you cannot even really get to the deed holder sometimes.
Well, I guess the balance is by state law, you cannot have a landlocked parcel. So that even if there is not a deeded legal access or something like that, you have to be allowed access
into the property.
To your property.
Absolutely.
And it's the middle ground of negotiating, because I think a lot of the things is where there may be an access that is a grandfathered access, but if it's deeded, then that means they would have to be legally wide enough for fire and emergency personnel and everything else. And that would cause a lot of landholders. They don't want to do that. They don't want to grant that type of. Well, but also they don't want to grant that. If you own a piece of property, you wouldn't want to grant that.
It's a large swath through your property.
Correct.
Quite frankly.
And so I think what they need is, and on the item today that we will actually scan and post up, and this is the item that the Community Development Department presented forward with some of these, where there would be exemptions for grandfathering in older parcels. If you were on a non-conforming parcel, you would be allowed to upgrade and repair an existing building. Lots of exemptions like that. But I think that it was still. So what they actually, at the end of the 3.5 hours, they pushed it back 2 weeks.
But they want it taken care of in 2 weeks.
Yeah, they actually want this to come back, and it may not be. And if there is a public comment section, it will be a public comment section followed by an action item, not just a study session. I think they.
Well, this wasn't a study session today.
No, I know.
It was a minute order.
Right, but there is enough.
And we won't talk about that.
But there is enough impetus behind this that I think the Board of Supervisors and everybody else they want a clear ruling on this, and some clear, because, for example, for real estate transactions, having things in limbo is worse than having a clear path.
Exactly. Or a path that is not particularly beneficial.
Right, but at least
to a particular industry, but at least you know.
Yeah. And I don't think, and I probably won't be quite as real estate friendly, so to speak, as the septic one. This is just my guess, because they pulled the board at the end, and because there could be two things. There is a title, it's article. You're better at rattling off numbers and that, but it's something 17 of the.
Yeah.
Basically, that one is the one where the county has to get into, based on that ordinance, of what is legal access requirements. Now, one of the some of the people that spoke today said they should just completely dump that. So where the county gets out of defining legal access and then leaves it up to the courts. It is a civil matter. But it is,
it's the Calaveras County zoning code that you're referring to, Title 17.
Right.
And they want more clarification for the easements.
Correct.
In that particular
But there is an
title.
option. But there would be the one option is if you completely removed that, then it falls back on default state law, which is fire and safety accidents. It falls back on state law, and basically the county says, if you have an issue, go fight it out in the courts, because then it dumps it into a civil issue. So, but then they polled the board at the end and then says, does anybody want to do that? And the four supervisors, that none of them did. So they all uniformly said no.
Well, you're giving up your local control too.
Right.
At that point.
So I guess the reason I brought it up is what will probably come out of this is somewhere, splitting the baby, so to speak. They're not going to have
We're in King Solomon's court now, right?
Yes. So it's probably, obviously you're not going to have the,
Upshot of it is it'll be back in 2 weeks.
It'll be back in 2 weeks. It'll be back in 2 weeks, yeah.
And if you want if you were going to have the Community Development Department material up on the site later on.
Yes, I will.
So
yeah,
if you want to actually look it up.
I'm going to walk off camera here for just a second, and I'm going to get it. Go see you do another piece. I'll grab it right here.
Well, I think this is the very first time I've ever seen somebody on the news actually walk off camera, unless they were pushed off camera. And you're getting that.
Didn't Dan rather do that? Didn't he jump off?
Well, he needed to. Let's put it that way. Anyway, I'll just go to the accident with the transit bus. More government news. If you were actually stuck in traffic between Angels Camp and Highway, on Highway 49.
There it is.
See, I think. All right, we're back again onto this topic. We're jumping around today.
Well, not badly so, but I didn't bring my show notes.
Okay.
I left them in my briefcase.
He left them in the briefcase.
And so I think it'll probably end up somewhere between what is currently in effect now and what was proposed today by the Community Development Department, and no regulation at all. Because they're going to have something.
I'm just going to read this to you for a minute because I want to read the code to you. What seems to be at issue is this, quote, each use of land or structure shall have legal access, and I want you to remember that, legal access. That does not say legal deeded access. That says legal access from the nearest public road. Such access shall be constructed to the standards of the Department of Public Works for the land use proposed. Now, you can read that as you may, and this will actually, all this information is going to be up on the site.
Yeah.
You can, if you have complaints or you have questions, I suggest you contact the county.
But this actually was not voted on.
I know
today.
It wasn't voted on. They continued it for 2 weeks.
Right.
And it will come back in 2 weeks, and we'll find out exactly what they say legal access is.
Which needs to be defined, yes.
Which needs to be defined.
Right.
I used to sit in the Board of Supervisors room every single
Now
Monday.
she makes me go.
Now he
and
goes.
that is just...
And then I see the corollary information and go, excuse me, this seems to be quite well defined. It says legal access, legal access.
Yeah. But then, what is that? But anyway, I guess...
Exactly, what is that?
Yeah. That's the only thing we'll bring on it today is... it's an important
we could
fiscal
get in a big
item.
argument,
No, it's
actually.
an important fiscal item for the county.
Oh, it is.
And there's a lot of people...
Depending on how you define legal access, you will either devalue quite a bit of property in the county.
Right. And I guess one of the things is if you're watching this from the Bay Area, you're going, man, I mean...
Yeah, this is kind of...
It wouldn't apply.
No. We're going to the accident with the bus now.
Okay.
We're done.
30 seconds? Please? Okay. All right. This applies more to up here because we're a rural county. And there was people testifying today, for example, they have parcel maps that has a road that is shown on, the map that doesn't exist. It's never existed. Mm-hmm. So I think in a rural county you end up with really interesting things, that have been grandfathered in since the 1860s.
Yes. And that's why I mentioned earlier the convoluted titles and deeds and who belongs to what and what belongs to who, and when the properties get passed down beyond to the different generations. Sure. And so it is a matter of how they define that legal access in 2 weeks. And we will come back in 2 weeks. And I will actually try and get to that meeting. I will try and get to that meeting.
Okay.
Accident
time.
This actually turned out to be a good story, a good news story.
Well, I guess it's one of those things that could have been much worse.
It could have been worse, exactly.
Approximately,
about 3:37.
Probably 3:15 or so.
3:15?
Yeah, I mean, the accident today, the official report has not been done yet. So some of these facts, or some of what we're saying here may...
3:37 is when we got it up on the site.
Yes, which may change a little bit as time goes on. But the basic facts are that on Highway 49 between San Andreas and Angels Camp, about a mile north of Angels Camp, there was an accident today involving 3 vehicles plus a
county transit bus.
And the bus was northbound on its way to San Andreas, and there was a car that stopped to make a left-hand turn.
Yes.
And the transit bus could not stop in time, and at the last minute swerved to the left, clipped the car, the car back in line, but then unfortunately went head on into an SUV going southbound. And we have pictures up on the site where the damage to the vehicles was pretty significant, damage, but minor injuries. Everybody's going to, there's going to be some really sore people. But there was 6 or 7 people from what we heard on the bus. We heard from reports of that, plus the occupants of the vehicles. But what it really did is just made a mess of traffic for this afternoon.
Anytime you get an accident like that on a 2-lane highway, it backs everything up.
Just before rush hour, the only... the main thoroughfare, and it was Highway 49. It was a mess.
In fact, both of us got stuck in it.
Yes.
Yeah,
both of us got stuck in it. But we actually will post a little clip. We took a clip of how long the backup was. So well over a mile, mile long on the backup.
Absolutely.
So I guess the good news is everybody's apparently going to be okay. Bad news is a lot of wrecked vehicles, and in one county bus, they just got approved for 3 new buses.
Yes.
They're going to need 4.
Yes.
This one...
well, at least people were minimally hurt. That is the really important thing.
If somebody... Those are the initial reports. And if somebody was more seriously hurt on down, we're not trying to minimize it at all. But this is just from initial reports on the scene. So that was a very spectacular crash that had not a good outcome, but it could have been much worse. It could have been
much worse, exactly. Kind of like the plane yesterday.
Yeah, kind of like clipping the power line. And
exactly.
Very similar.
Very, very similar. And you went down to Angels Camp.
We did. We stopped by the city council meeting tonight, where they had the appeal of a decision for priority realtors to be able to move into Greenhorn Creek.
Oh.
And there was a lot of people in the Greenhorn Creek subdivision that do not want the retail office in their subdivision. Yeah.
Okay.
So
we don't have the outcome on that, but they were talking about that when you left.
Right, and we'll post something on it this morning. But it was pretty well attended, and also it's an interesting thing listening to small town news. It's even smaller. It's interesting, even more interesting than county news. There was a lady there complaining about her trash bill or waste bill.
Yeah.
And she was in and it was $12, and she was there wondering why it was showing up, and it had to be. It was actually because she lived in a controlled park, like a mobile home park or something like that. And it was actually from them and not from the city. So there was a case of mistaken. The waste was mistaken where that bill came from as well. And she wanted her $12.
Okay. And anyway, any Angels Camp, because we usually don't talk about Angels Camp very much.
Not as much as we should.
But they actually received a $35,000 community block development grant to help brand the city.
And wasn't it already branded with frogs?
Yes, that's what I would think.
Maybe they're going to enhance and burnish the frogs.
Possibly. Apparently they're going to hire a consultant to come in and help them to get the word out about Angels Camp.
Maybe we'll put some of the consulting dollars to the Pine Tree. Here, let's go back and forth. Let's see.
I will go
Let's do Angels Camp. Hop on in. Let's see. Angels Camp. What's another one?
The roughest, rowdiest city in the Motherlode.
Okay.
It used to be.
Right, there we go.
You could talk about the brawls in the street. Maybe they don't want to brand it quite that way.
I was trying to stick on that frog thing.
The frog
What
thing.
is the official slogan?
Of Angels Camp?
Yeah.
I don't think they have one.
It's not biggest little city in the world because somebody
That's
else.
Reno. Oops. Oops. Yeah. Yeah. My computer's being attacked here.
Hop on in. Let's see. Okay, next story.
Don't feed the frog buckshot.
And also, a couple of upcoming things on the Chamber of Commerce luncheon. On this Friday will be Assemblyman Tom Berryhill.
Very
cool. Will be addressing the luncheon.
Mm-hmm.
And also, a couple days ago, this is one of those things where we just posted I get the full story posted on it, on a 9-year-old Murphy's boy that got bit by a rattlesnake. And it looks like he's going to be fine. Circulation to do his arm. But it was, be careful out there for snakes. So if you're coming up here and you want to, there are a few rattlesnake incidents out.
This is a terrible year for rattlers, quite frankly, because it is dry and it is really hot early in the season. And they just love that. Yeah. They really do.
And it's, also on Board of Supervisor stuff, there was other issues. The Sheriff Dennis Downham came in there, and he had to, he addressed the board and
we really
passed
are
something.
hopping around.
What do you mean? I was just, a couple things I was thinking that we didn't get to.
Okay. Actually, Sheriff Dennis Downham came in.
Yes.
And was talking about a tri-county agreement.
A tri-county agreement to
holding beds, right?
Holding beds, yeah.
Because they actually contract out to like San Joaquin and Stanislaus.
It was going to be San Joaquin, Amador, and Calaveras.
Oh,
and
they're going to try to partner with Amador?
I think so. Developing a facility that would be somewhere between a full jail and halfway house. It's kind of kind of in between. All right, a couple of things we want to try is, one thing on these little sports. We don't talk trap shooting enough here on the Nightly News, do we? Do we talk trap shooting?
Can you tell he's irritated?
Who?
Can you tell he's irritated?
No. Can we talk? We don't talk trap shooting much, do we?
Yeah, he's wishing he had a gun right now.
No.
Let's practice trap shooting in the studio.
The Angels trap shooting team shot their way to the Nationals.
I think that is
Isn't
a very
pretty
cool story.
This is a very cool story.
I tell you what, that takes a lot of skill and a lot of practice.
Yeah.
To do that.
And I think it's a very cool story. The SCTP Team Angels Camp trap shooting team shot the way to the Nationals trap shooting. And championship finals to be held August 6th and 7th in Sparta, Illinois.
Oh, wow.
So they're going to Sparta, Illinois. And in the picture that you can see on the site, there is Valley Spring shooters Spencer Cummings and Scott Rader, Angels Camp shooters Cody Chu and John Winnings, and Arnold shooter Travis Glass came in third in the junior varsity division of the State Scholastic Clay Target Program competition.
Wow.
Held this past Saturday in Kingsburg, California.
Wow.
So Travis Glass ended up in a tie for second place in individual competition after shoot-off placed third out of 143 shooters in the JV division. Division. Yeah.
Division.
So very, very cool.
There was, we have archers in the county that go to nationals quite frequently as well. Young archers.
Young archers?
Mm-hmm. I can't remember their names right now. It was in the last 6 months, actually.
So. Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Also, should we touch a little bit on national news?
Sure. I'm going to save my state news for tomorrow.
You are?
Yes.
Okay. Because you know that all of you tune in, because we know that with Katie Couric's ratings dropping precipitously, more and more people are tuning into the Pine Tree for their nightly news, right?
That's right. They certainly are. Yes. And Bloomberg is
exits the GOP. Where we're going, we're not quite sure yet, but we know where he's left.
Yes, but he was apparently a Dem before he became a Republican to get elected as mayor.
So the odds are that he's going back to the Dems?
No, isn't he an independent? Didn't he go to become independent?
Well, I don't know. Well, let's see. Well, anyway, also on that is Fred Thompson now is all tied up, is now at the top of the Republican polls, and he's not even officially in.
Very nice.
Now, is that an indictment of the people who are already in?
I don't know.
Yeah.
All I know is that they need, much like the Democrats, they need to pick the correct candidate.
Yeah.
Who has appeal for a large audience.
Yeah, and also on the sad note, if you've probably no doubt seen this, there were 9 firefighters killed fighting a fire in a South Carolina warehouse fire. And that's...
He has to be killed in the line of duty like that.
And if you're looking at climate news...
More climate news, huh?
Climate news, if you're following the global warming issue... China now overtakes the U.S. as the world's biggest CO2 emitter. So,
see, I was having this discussion with someone, though, and this could prove my complete ignorance of the ecological cycle. Don't plants use CO2 to convert into energy and oxygen? Then they give up oxygen as a part of the conversion process that we then use?
Yeah, but there's something about that process. I don't know. It's just, wasn't there such a thing as something's carbon neutral? Not.
I don't know.
Well, I know the more plants are good, right?
The other night I thought that there was a cow at White Pines, and John quickly told me it was a frog. So as you can tell, I am not a naturalist.
All right, Bloomberg exited. I have no plan, but everybody thinks he's angling for a presidential
run. And he may be.
I have no plans to announce a candidacy because I plan to be mayor for the next 926 days. But his arms were clearly crossed, and maybe even his fingers too. So that's one thing we'll have to watch.
Well, it may be like Perot, where he took part of the election.
Great.
So you're splitting the vote.
Yeah.
And you never know quite. I mean, when you bring somebody in who can actually split the vote, then it's all up for grabs, quite frankly.
And if you ever think that your local government...
I may not know anything about environmental cycles, but I do know about politics.
Yes, you do. She is our policy wonk. And one interesting thing is that in a little bit of the humorous and oddball news is if you ever think your county government is a little bit suspect or not happy with your local government, the state treasurer, the state treasurer in South Carolina has been suspended after being indicted for distribution of cocaine.
Oh, the state treasurer.
Yes.
And was he?
He was trying to balance the budget.
Was he selling it?
That's what he was indicted for.
Was he selling it out of the evidence closet?
I don't know, but that's what he was indicted for. And also, the Home Depot fires a man for stopping shoplifters.
How did that happen?
Well, let me tell you. In Jacksonville, Florida, Bobby Hagan never thought he'd be walking down the road he's been since he laid out from 2 Fridays in the Home Depot store on Lim Turner. Okay. A 6-year employee with Home Depot got fired last Friday for confronting shoplifting suspects in the parking lot and grabbing the alleged stolen goods back from them. Police arrested and charged the man and woman with grand theft.
Okay.
But since he...
because he grabbed the bags, he was part of it.
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
No. Home Depot said its policy is clear and offered up a statement. Policy calls for any associate who witnesses criminal activity to immediately contact a designated loss prevention associate or security guard to the store who is professionally trained to handle the situation the safest way possible. Your company's getting too big when their statement says, if you witness criminal activity, immediately contact the designated loss prevention associate. Ouch. Oh, ouch.
I'm quite glad that I'm saving my state news for tomorrow.
Why?
Let's just go to weather. How about we go to weather?
Can I do one more?
Yeah.
All right. And here's this other one, is A 24-year-old who grabbed the gun before going to help his neighbor who had been shot. You're fired, hears a man after saving a woman's life. When a neighbor screamed she'd been shot, Colin Burley grabbed his shotgun and found a victim and began treating her bloodied right leg. Tonetta Lee survived Tuesday's pre-dawn shooting at her Jacksonville apartment, and her sister and neighbor praised Bruley's actions, but his employers, the same people who own the Arlington complex where Bruley lives, reacted differently. They fired him. Mm-hmm. A leasing agent at the Oak Mill lost a job and told that brandishing the weapon was a workplace violation and was failing to notify supervisors after the incident occurred. He worked on... There you go. So this is kind of like Home Depot.
Yes.
So be careful if you do the right thing out there. Well, Sarah, what do you got?
Weather.
Weather?
Weather.
Oh.
We've got weather.
All right, let's do weather.
Okay. Arnold weather.
Arnold, okay.
Okay, Arnold weather. Tonight, low of 61 degrees. Tuesday, 86 degrees. Wednesday, 87 degrees. And Thursday, 88 degrees.
Murphy's. Murphy's is low of 59, high of 86. Thursday, high of 89. Friday, high of 89.
Okay. Angels Camp. Let me scroll down there. Tonight, low of 64. Tuesday, 90 degrees. Wednesday, 87 degrees. And Thursday, 88 degrees.
There we go.
You going to do Bear Valley?
I will do Bear Valley.
Okay.
Bear Valley. And low of 51, high of 77, high of 81 on Thursday, and a high of 80 on Friday. Very nice.
Actually, that would be very nice this weekend. Definitely.
Very nice.
Okay, then.
Well, we would really like to thank you for stopping by. What?
To our ping pong news today.
Ping pong news. Was I bouncing around? Actually, I've been running ragged since like 8 a.m. this morning. Just go, 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 go. So it's hard to get out of that mode, actually, because I was going from event to traffic accident to event.
Actually, we both have been sort of bouncing around today.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Ping pong news.
Ping pong news.
Yeah, not bad,
yes.
Not bad. So tomorrow I will talk about all the state stuff, Senate bills.
Are you going to give us a tease?
Bills. We are going to talk about radio frequency ID tags. RFID. You know, those little chips they put in to track people.
So are you going to put one on your children?
No. But apparently some employers want to actually insert them in their employees' skin.
Uh-huh.
It's like George Orwell.
So they know where they are, right?
So they don't have to bother with, the scan cards and that type of thing. So it's a little frightening. Yes, so our state legislature is going to is looking to take steps to protect us as usual.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
But that's just one thing. So anyhow, you have to join us tomorrow night to see what I'm going to talk about as far as the RFID tags.
Sure.
And also, I bet you there's some exciting things going to happen tomorrow too. So
I love that commercial from the bank. Remember that one commercial with the bank where they staple the barcode to the guy's forehead?
I've never seen that
so funny. Basically, they staple a barcode to this guy's forehead. You have to remember this. And they're scanning his head, but it doesn't read. So she's like wiping his head across the bar scanner, and it doesn't beep, right? It's like the grocery store. You couldn't scan it. He didn't beep. So anyway, tune in tomorrow for RFID tag news. Woo! Thank you very much for stopping by.
Thank you.
We appreciate it, and you have a great evening.
Mm-hmm. Good night.
Good night.